Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and we have in fact missed 3 5pms with the good folk, the good listeners, because, well, we've either been on holiday or very busy.
But it's nice to be back, Johnny.
What
a lovely sunny day. It feels like we've been blessed with a little bit of a late summer.
Well, the first summer, really, given what the summer's been like.
I don't think it was that bad. Everyone's saying it was a bit of a washout or whatever. I think it was all right. We had some pretty good days.
Did we?
Some very, very hot days. Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah,
When?
yeah. I mean, I was out in Florida. No, I wasn't. I haven't been on holiday yet this year, but I'd like to be out in Florida at some point. Can I go in the winter? I think I probably can, as long as it's not hurricane season.
Yeah, well, I think that's that's going on now, maybe. It's coming to an end, perhaps.
Yeah, my sister was out there at Disneyland a few weeks back, and she had a great time with her family, but their flight was like super delayed home because of a massive storm.
Yeah,
and they were getting battered a bit with the weather. So yeah, maybe I'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, well, when we went, they said it's January, February. That's when you want to be in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Jan, Feb?
Yeah.
Seriously? That's mad. That's a great time of year to go. It's bloody horrible over here.
Yeah, but it means that the temperature is like 25 degrees, and
nice,
as unhumid as it gets, which is still like having a bath, but better than what we experienced.
Better than any bath in England, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, as always, this has not gone the way I expected. We skipped 2 weeks, but we are back, and we had a great reason for missing last week, which was that we were setting up for our festival, which, as with all festival setups, just took a little bit more time than we were intending. But hopefully, if you came, it was all worth it.
Oh, dude, I thought it was an amazing festival, if I do say so myself. I think everyone that was there had a great time. I didn't see any disgruntled people. I think everyone kept a lid on it when it came to like getting mash up with the drinks. We had plenty of amazing beers to try in our kind of tasting sessions. Loads of free party snacks. We even did an epic tasting with all of our Pickled Honey Monster Munch. Morris dancers. Twice, Johnny. 2 lots of Morris dancers. One of the times I even saw you dancing. I think I've even got it on videotape.
Oh, God.
So, there's that to contend with.
I said I was not going to Morris dance, and then there were no volunteers. Yeah. So, two beers deep, Johnny was like, well, I'll get it moving.
We had a few. I've really hurt my back, so... I was sort of trying to
you haven't hurt your back.
You just wanted a little bit.
You'd committed yourself too deep into the Morris dancing wormhole, and you needed a way out. That's what happened.
I would have loved to get more involved. I was going backwards and forwards in a circle with you, but I couldn't do the leg stuff because I was filming, and also it hurt to jump. So there was that. But how much chocolate did you eat? I think I only ate like 3 of those little mini Tony's Chocolonely bars. Shout out Tony's Chocolonely, by the way. They sent us an epic amount of free chocolate again for all of our guests who absolutely lapped it up. Same with Serious Pig snacks. They sent us snacking cheeses.
Which is
the
just
crispiest.
Crack.
Oh,
it's just... Ugh, so
it's
good.
cheese crack.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Cheese crack.
I don't know whether they they don't pair well together, chocolate and cheese, maybe at the same time. But
Some cheeses do. I've done a mad tasting with the wonderful Ned Palmer, Ned the Sneb. And you can match certain cheeses with chocolates, but definitely not Parmesan. Which is
Parmesan.
what this cheese crack, snacking pig stuff is made from.
Oh, so good. It's so good.
I ate a lot of snacking pig, and I ate a lot of pickled onion Monster Munch and Quavers, which I provided from Costco. You're all welcome.
I bought the pickled onion. Pickled onion Monster Munch came from Home Bargains.
Home Bargains. All the great ethical brands.
I raided their shelves. Just to circle back. It's Serious Pig. I think you kept saying snacking pig. It's snacking
cheese and Serious Pig.
By Serious Pig. George at Serious Pig, shout out. Represent.
Thank you very much
lad,
indeed.
Top lad.
Yeah, to answer your question, I didn't have any chocolate.
No.
But I did bring a box home for myself, so I have been indulging in the Tonys.
I saw that in the photo you sent me the other day when you said we needed a lock-up to put all of the stuff.
Yeah.
I clocked you had one of those rainbow boxes.
I did.
Is that the last of the chocolate?
Well, I left some for the staff at Hackney as a thank you.
Nice.
And I took a box. Touch. But you know me, I don't have a hugely sweet tooth. So next time you come, because we've got a lot of filming to do for our next sort of series that's coming out.
Sure do.
There'll be plenty of chocolate left, don't worry.
Bring some for our epic car journey tomorrow, Johnny.
Oh, yeah, I could do.
Keep us going.
Yeah. So Brad's done a little sneak peek there. Tomorrow we're off to harvest. This time the hop harvest. So we're going to film at Hewkins Hop, one of the best hop growers in the UK, particularly of sort of heritage British varieties. But this variety we're watching being picked is UK Cascade.
How cool is that? That is very, very exciting. Can't wait. It's very cool to have such an epic big sea hop that's being grown over here. I think that's a really cool evolution and something I'm into. Presumably it's a little bit different to Cascade from across the pond, but that's exciting too.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely got that kind of earthy terroir that all the increasingly less with the really new varieties, but a lot of the classic British varieties have sort of earthy hedgerowy stuff. But it's still got that kind of green tea and grapefruit kick of a classic Cascade.
I've just started drinking green tea, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
As of about
what
2 weeks ago.
What internet article have you read that said you should do that?
I haven't read any articles, mate. It was when I had to admit myself into hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I'd better... That was about a week ago now, viewers out there, listeners, because I literally thought I was having a heart attack, and I think it was a panic attack mixed with severe back pain, like trapped nerve vibes. So I thought, well, I better do something about this. I've already sort of started
I'm not sure green
eating
tea's
some
the
better
answer.
food. Yeah, green tea, I reckon. You don't think so?
Well, it's caffeinated, and if you're having anxiety attacks, the last thing you should consume is caffeine.
Well, I've cut down on the 2-litre Cokes every day. That's a joke. I don't drink 2
about
litres
the
of
iced
Coke
coffees?
every day. I've actually stopped drinking iced coffee.
Okay.
Although I'm going to have one tomorrow morning because we've got an incredibly early start, and I'm driving, so I want to stay awake. But yeah, I've really cut back on those, and I've tried to pivot to like Yakults and shit, but obviously they don't hit the same way as a iced coffee.
You've got the weirdest replacements. You've replaced iced coffee with green tea.
Yeah.
And Coke with Yakult.
I don't really. I am drinking Yakult and stuff for high cholesterol. I don't even know if I've got high cholesterol, but I've got high blood pressure. But anyway, don't know why I've just debriefed everyone with my my health issues there. But I've been very stressed, Johnny, so it's nice to just be going out filming with you, mate, to be honest. That festival, blimey, it was fantastic, but that was a lot of stress.
It was a lot of stress, and it took me, I was supposed to have done some social posts, A, on the day, but B, sort of shortly afterwards, and I didn't manage it until Tuesday, because I hadn't really taken in what had happened, because I got up on Thursday, went to Hackney, and didn't really touch the ground again until Tuesday morning.
No,
Sorry, Tuesday afternoon, let's go collect all that stuff, including the chocolate.
You did. I slept through most of Sunday because I just felt like I'd crashed. I've had a lot going on my mum's not been very well. I've been taking care of my mum and stuff as well. So I've just been like at my wit's end, just exhausted a lot. Probably like what you feel like a lot of the time having a small child. But for me, it's like I couldn't really cope. So I'd slept through most of Sunday, which is mental. I never do that. And I'm feeling a bit more normal now. I'm ready to get back out there and get filming again in some hop yards.
Yeah, get into the fields.
And yeah, man.
I feel like
little droney.
All we've done is talk about how hard it was to host the festival. It was an absolute joy to meet everybody.
It was amazing.
And to have the incredible food and drink that we did. Big shout out, of course, to our food vendors, Oh My Dog, and Stoked Vegan Barbecue, and of course the incredible homebrewers who brought their absolute A game. Like, I had some truly incredible beer, the most memorable one of which was a Baltic Porter. I forget which homebrew club had made it, but it was incredible, like genuinely professional level brewing across lots of different breweries, but in particular that one. So there's a lot of talent, and as we know in the craft beer industry, a lot of homebrewers do go on to professional jobs in the industry, and that would show that at the very least the brewing side of brewing is in rude health, less so the sales side. But there's a lot of talented brewers, professionally and amateur, at the moment in the UK. And if you come to Love and Beer next year, you might get a taste of that as well.
Oh, you're already saying you're up for Love and Beer. Normally you're saying you're not up for Love and Beer.
Oh, no,
it's an exciting development.
I've got a sort of split personality, as I did last year, where half of me was like, well, of course we'll do it next year, and the other half was like, absolutely not. Why would you put yourself through that again? But I like to think, in fact, this is a theme for Craft Beer Channel just in general. Every year I sort of tell myself, and it'll be easier this year because we've learned so much from this year, but somehow new problems and adventures are thrown your way that mean that however much you learn, it's never enough. No,
always be learning, or always be closing is probably the thing.
Always be shutting down new ideas. So thank you to everybody so much for coming. It was an absolute joy, and it was amazing to meet so many of you and be able to some extent be able to have a beer with you. We did manage, certainly in the evening, to sort of relax and enjoy the festival itself and meet all of you.
I think we got around pretty well. I was talking to loads of Patreons and everything. Everyone was amazing. Everyone's obviously super lovely as per usual. Got to meet some new people. Got to meet people who came from last year as well. Lovely people from Iceland, Belgium.
Canary Islands.
Canary Islands. Yeah, the guys from the Canary Islands. Damn. All people from all parts of the world. Everyone loving beer and love.
I've just remembered what I did. So I got the last train home. And so I got home at it was about 1:30, pushing 2:00, and was obviously still kind of buzzing. And I woke up in the morning, and on my phone, open on the screen was I'd Googled the Canary Islands. I don't know whether I was planning a trip or just didn't really know much about it, and was like, I want to know about the Canary Islands.
It's pretty nice. I mean, my family used to go when I was a kid. We used to go there sometimes. To Gran Canaria, Tenerife, that sort of vibe. Fuerteventura we went to. That was nice. That's like planet. That's like the surface of the moon. Very volcanic looking.
Right.
I think they've used it in films and stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting place. And I don't know where I was going. Oh, I know where I was going to go with that. When I used to go there as a kid, I was quite young. I was probably about 10. Yeah, about 10ish. Let's say 10. And I had a GameBoy, and they had these shopping malls out there where you could buy GameBoy game cartridges that had like 400 games on. Proper illegal, like not Nintendo, but it had like a little button on the back of it, and you'd push it, and then you'd cycle through the games, and you'd go to like a games menu and stuff. My dad bought me one of those one year. It was friggin' amazing. One of the best presents I ever got. Had like every single Game Boy game on it. original Game Boy system is just immense.
There you go. Go for the volcanoes. Stay for the pirated Game Boy games.
This was like it was like 25, 30 years ago. So that was wild that you could have hundreds and hundreds of games in your pocket. It's like it just shows how small those games were. But it's cool, man.
Yeah. Spiraling backwards to the festival. If you couldn't make it, the good news is that on Saturday, the 28th of September, that's next Saturday, a week tomorrow, we are hosting a digital version of the festival. Now, there probably won't be any Morris dancing, or if there is, well, no, there won't be. But there will be. We're selling a pack via the Malt Miller. It's $34.95 for 5 of the collabs. So the 4 that we brewed, that's with Emperor's, Two Flints, Pressure Drop, and Pastore. And then you also get the Malt Miller and Track collab, Love Spreads, as well. So if you want to pick that up, there's only about 30 left. We've already nearly sold out. But if you want to join in the taste along, do join us. We're trying to line up currently some of the brewers to come and do tastings with us for their beers. We've definitely got Damien from Emperor's. I'll have to let you know about the rest of them. But yeah, it's going to be a great evening full of the usual chaos and nonsense that our live shows are, but with a little bit more structure and hopefully some delicious, delicious guests joining us. So yeah, do pick up that. There's a link in the podcast description to buy that, or just go to the Malt Miller website and search for, I guess, CBC Taste Along Pack, and it will come up and you can relive. Maybe, Brad, you could, if you have time, dig the footage off of your Vibes cam.
Oh wow!
And we could show a bit of it.
Maybe, yeah, that might be quite cool actually. If I get the time to work that out. We're off next week, aren't we? Filming up in where are we at? Charles Farrams next week.
Yeah, so we're at the Harvest again next week.
Yeah,
in Worcestershire with the lovely folks from Charles Farram and also Buxton Brewery. And that is also for Keep Cask Alive, as is tomorrow. So tomorrow's with 5 Points and Hewkins, and then next week is with Buxton and Charles Farrams. So, yeah, we've got a lot of hop harvesting to do. Maybe I'll put some hop garlands up in the studio next week to dress it up for the festival. Because there were hop garlands in the homebrew tent, I don't know if you noticed, which was very lovely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's next week. And, yeah, potentially. I mean, send the footage to me, Brad, and I'll make I could probably make like a 2-minute. This is what it was like.
Okay, you've asked for it. It's incredibly low resolution.
Yeah.
And full of vibes, Johnny.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the format is. It's MPEG 2 or something mental.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Fun times. But it looks all right.
There'll be something online that will convert it for me if I look at some dodgy adverts.
We even got Morris Dancer cam. Did you notice? I handed over the camera to one of the Morris dancers.
I did. There was a photo
when they were
that
performing.
Sean took of her.
Great photo.
Yeah. Really
great photo of that. We've got to send those. They're called Bells of London, by the way. Thank you so much, Bells of London. You made my festival. You were great. You had an amazing little band going on with a mad instrument called I want to call it a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, hurdy-gurdy.
I keep calling it something else, but it's a hurdy-gurdy, isn't it? A whirly-gig, I kept calling it.
Whirly-gig, yeah.
That's what I kept calling it, and they were like, it's a hurdy-gurdy, mate. But yeah, big shout-out to Bells, to Kate, and to all of those guys. There was a guy called, oh my God, I can't remember what his name was, the guy with a massive hat. Remember the guy with a massive hat?
Are you talking about the horse?
No, there was a guy who was playing the accordion, I think it was, who had a giant oversized straw hat on that was black. He looked like something...
Oh, yeah, that is ringing a bell now.
Yeah. I think his name was Betley, and
sort
apparently...
the kind of hat the baddie wears in, like, the Three Musketeers.
Yes, it's like that, or like something from, like, Witchfinder General sort of vibes, like very kind of 17th century... we're going to burn you at the stake sort of vibes. Or maybe he did, I don't know. But he apparently overindulged in the home brewing tent.
Ruh-roh.
Kate told me. So he's got a sore head. Hopefully not anymore.
And the horse has a long face.
with the massive hat. The horse has got a long face. I didn't know the horse was coming, so that was a massive bonus for me.
Why would you have known? Did you know the horse previously? It's not the first time you've met the horse.
No. I don't mean that. What I mean is I feel like they really pushed the boat out, and it was probably because we were like, we'll sort you out the food and beer. So did the horse remove their head?
Break out the horse.
Was it a method horse? Did they ever actually eat or drink anything, or were they sort of like kind of eating through their mask? Or
I don't
know.
remember seeing the horse head removed at any point. So I think they went full method horse.
That's amazing. I love that dedication to the sport. I'm calling it a sport, Johnny.
Yeah, you're wrong, but you can do that. Right. Anyway, let's move on because I know that we spent the last couple. Okay.
Can I just say one more thing, Johnny? We did a charity tombola. Can we announce that, or are we still counting it up and everything? So we did a charity tombola. Mort Miller helped us get loads of people to donate amazing gifts. We had over 100 gifts. Big, good prizes. Sorry, not gifts. Prizes in the tombola, and it made more money than anything else, I think, this year.
We raised £1,008 for cancer research.
£1,008, man, for cancer research. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone that had a go on the tombola, won cool boxes and pairs of socks.
Brew days, cooler days, beer.
My
honestly, books, your books.
Exactly. I think those guys, they really brought the love to the festival. It's so nice that we're able to share the love and give it back to a great organisation. My mum's suffering with cancer at the moment, and it means a lot that we chose that as a charity. So thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Mort Miller, and thank you everyone that had a go on the tombola. It meant a lot to me. So thanks.
It was magical to see us raise that much. Right, let's talk about let's do beer news, and then we'll get to last week's video, because this week's video is going live in about 20 minutes time, actually, from where we're recording today, because obviously we're in the hop fields on Friday. So yeah, it's been a big beer news week. A lot's happened while we've been busy doing other things, and I think we should probably start with the biggest bit of news.
Is the biggest bit of news about things getting smaller? Yeah, that's interesting.
So a study by Cambridge University academics, who I've always hated.
They hate fun, don't they? Let's be honest.
Fun. Have, I guess, recommended to the government that they change the licensing laws to stop beer being served in pints. Can you believe it?
Dude, it's unreal. It's what, I won't get like, we're in a nanny state or anything like that, but leave our pints alone, Johnny. They've been like that since 16 whatever. People been drinking pints.
It does feel like it's baiting the racists in this country a little bit. It's like
definitely
getting them while they're at their angriest.
Yeah. But also, they've got some sensible points, haven't they? That it does make a lot. I mean, even great drinking nations like Germany, they drink a smaller measure, as do the Belgians and stuff. Yeah. Well, some of their measures, not all their measures.
I mean, I think, let's not forget that Oktoberfest is litres of 6% beer. But what I would say, and I might surprise you here, is that if we were in the 16th or 17th century, I'd have 100% agreed with this. And I kind of agree with it now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, despite every bone in my body saying, leave my pints alone. It's not a bad idea, because you end up with fresher, cheekier beers you can drink, and they taste better.
Yeah.
And you're not going to fall off your chair as much.
Well,
but I don't like the idea of Johnny. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I don't think that this study proves that. Because if you dig into the actual figures of it, it's not a very conclusive report. So basically,
well, they were pissed, weren't they? They were pissed when they were making it.
Basically, what this study did is it asked about 1,000 pubs if they would take on this challenge of serving all of their beer in 2/3 rather than pints. And they said that if you sell less beer, we will pay the difference. So you wouldn't lose any money by taking part of this. Still, only 13, so 1% accepted.
Yeah.
And one of them dropped out after that. So only 12 pubs made it to the final study, and over the full time that they did it, they only sold 2.77 litres less of beer and cider per day. So that's less than 5 pints a day less was consumed. And you have to assume that there's hundreds of people coming through that pub.
So do we just think people will just drink to what they want, the level they want to be drinking at instinctively, and it doesn't really matter how big a drinking vessel it is? Is that what we're saying?
Well, I think that what's interesting is it will make a difference in some pubs. So if you're just having a swift one, you'll drink less, won't you?
Yeah.
And in some ways, that's a great idea in terms of if you're a designated driver but you really want to have a beer, 2/3 of a 4% beer is well under the UK guideline laws for drink driving. Yeah. So that's quite a nice idea. But if you're sat down for an evening in the pub, there's absolutely no way you're going to end up drinking less. You will just you'll just buy more individual beers because you'll get through them quicker. The other interesting thing that makes this study not conclusive whatsoever is that there was an 8% decline in beer sales. There was a 7% increase in wine purchases.
Yeah.
So it drove people to a higher alcohol product.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So, as far as I'm concerned, this study was a complete non-event. It basically said...
it doesn't show much.
No, and it's certainly not. Even with those numbers, even if it didn't increase the amount of wine, the numbers are pretty inconclusive, really.
Are we assuming that people drank less beer and more the same people switched to wine, or that these places now attract more wine drinkers because there's less Larry pint wielders about?
Or because the beer
probably,
drinkers
right?
just went elsewhere. So there were
beer
more
drinkers
seats
went
for the
elsewhere.
wine people.
They went to a proper pub for proper pints.
Yeah. I mean, I'm uncertain. I think...
I've got an idea, Johnny. You get those... We don't really drink out of them anymore because they're stupid glasses, but I remember back in the day, Camden used to have the wheat beer in like a massively tall wheat beer glass. Do you remember that? And it looked like it was about 2 pints. Because it was literally about 1.5 feet high.
Yeah, they do. Well, all the classic Weiss beers are really tall.
So we should instigate a 2/3 wheat beer glass, as we'll call it, the mini pint or something, or the maxi pint maybe to really throw people off.
I think people will drink quicker. Because this is a purely anecdotal bit of evidence. But when I drink a half, I drink it faster than I do half of a pint in a glass.
I mean, I don't like waste, and I don't like not drinking pints fast enough, but I must say I'm guilty of drinking quite slowly sometimes. Not that that's a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing.
But you get to near the end of a pint and you don't really fancy it because you're like, well,
it's particularly
it's
true.
dead.
It is a little weakness of cask ale because A, it's warmer already, and B, it's flatter already.
Yeah.
So the last few dregs of, this is another reason why I think 2/3 is great. I also think that as the ABVs, particularly of craft beer, crept up, it would have been, and one of the good things that BrewDog did do is help get 2/3 sort of recognised as a weight to measure. And I am so pro 2/3. The interesting thing is, so all of the people that have written stories about this, everybody has, the Mail, the BBC, the Guardian, like all across the entire spectrum. And all of them have tried to make this comparison, saying, well, in Germany, it's only 500ml. In Belgium, the average is 250ml. And the thing we have to remember is that the pint, the reason it's at 5, 6, 8, and the reason it's been there for hundreds of years is because traditionally our beer was significantly weaker. Whereas in Belgium, the beer traditionally was significantly, is the last sort of century, significantly stronger. And in Germany, it is a little bit stronger as well. Like the average beer is sort of 5-ish. Whereas in the UK, certainly on the cask side, and cask ale was the biggest selling form of beer until the mid to late 90s. So pretty recent history that keg beer overtook it. Yeah. The average strength of that would be around 4% or possibly even lower. So they try to paint us as like strong beer guzzling by the pint people, But the opposite is true. We drank an extra 68 mil on top of the Germans at 1% or more lower in ABV.
Yep, I agree. Also, should we be thinking about, like, you know, it's all good, all well and good drinking pints of lager, but maybe, and pale ale and all that kind of stuff, but IPAs, maybe they well, not, I don't know who's ordering a pint of IPA these days. No, a lot of people are. But maybe we should start thinking about 2/3 if we're not already. Just because you get to try more beers as well, Johnny.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you know?
Yeah, like I say, I think having more, normalising the 2/3 pour would be great for stronger beers, for more adventurous beer drinkers. The main issue with this that I have, even if I agreed with absolutely everything in terms of health benefits, enjoyment benefits, is that if it does reduce beer sales, the industry is already screwed enough, already pays enough tax, already has small enough margins, it would cause greater issues. But B, for the pubs, who would all have to invest in millions and millions of new glasses, it's just unthinkable. It would need to be phased in culturally, probably for 10, 15 years, and then made a law once 2/3 was the more popular thing anyway.
Agreed. A couple of 100 years, Johnny, and then we'll probably be on 2/3.
Yeah. So basically, Cambridge University, go home, you drunk.
Can we, before we move on from this, Johnny?
You want to talk about your heat map?
You got the Daily Fell heat map open. The areas of England with the biggest drinkers.
Yeah.
This is percentage of adults drinking over 14 units of alcohol a week from 2015 to 2018. So just pointing this, I'm just going to make this statement. That's before the COVID pandemic, isn't it?
Yes, Bradley, yeah.
So that's well before
COVID
COVID pandemic. Well before COVID pandemic. Times were drastically different then, weren't they? So I think this is quite an unfair heat map, Johnny, because these days these numbers are surely off. But I did find it particularly interesting that you've got Islington in London is over 41% of adults drinking 14 units a week. Sorry, 37% of adults.
Yeah.
Kensington and Chelsea, the made in Chelsea high lifers, they're kicking up their heels and having a great time. 41.3% of adults drinking over 14 units in 2018. Brighton, 40.7%. Like that's nuts. And the biggest whammy for me, Johnny, Isle of Wight, 40.7% of adults drinking over 14 units a week. Now, I'm a man that's been to the Isle of Wight, and it's full of old people, so I don't understand. Where are they drinking? Where are all these old people drinking, Johnny? I've been there. There's some nice little pubs, but
well, I think alcohol consumption is famously biggest in the older generations.
Right. Okay. You're probably correct there. Yeah, you're right. The new generations aren't drinking as much, are they?
Yeah.
So that could well be it. So they're you know.
But yeah, why the Isle of Wight? I guess there's not a lot to do.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, there
mate.
is if you're
it's
a tourist.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But if you live there, I'm not sure there is.
Just get pissed. No.
I mean, I would say, like, it's famous that people underreport how much alcohol they consume, partly through shame, partly because they don't want their doctor to interfere, and partly because people don't fully understand sort of the unit system. So I'm a little bit sceptical of this heat map.
What did you make of there's an area of White, which is you've got Oxford and Coventry to the left of it.
Yeah, so it's basically Berkshire, Buckinghamshire, and working its way up through past Cambridgeshire. I'm not quite sure what county's next door to Cambridgeshire.
Isn't that weird that they're not in it?
Yeah, I mean
they're just not in it.
I'm not really sure why they didn't take part in the maybe it's it's local authority statistics and those local authorities didn't have them, but it's weird that they're all next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they have a don't ask, don't tell policy on alcohol consumption. But yeah. So I mean, effectively, if you look at that map, it is the metropolitan areas seem to drink a bit more, although weirdly the suburbs of London drink less, apart from Richmond, which is just party town. Which is ironic because there's no good pubs in Richmond. There's one One good
Oh,
pub
there's
and
some
a
on the
couple
river,
of
aren't
Fuller's
there?
pub.
Aren't there a few on the river?
I'm
trying to
sorry,
think.
when
Yeah,
I
there's
say
definitely.
good pubs, I mean good beer pubs.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's some
lovely
Fuller's
pubs on the river.
along the Thames.
Yeah,
Yeah. And obviously, like Manchester, Liverpool has some hot spots. Newcastle's a party and a student town.
Yeah.
Bristol's loving life.
I'd
I presume
love to
Cornwall,
s-
St Austell and Verdon are doing most of that.
Yeah. Maybe that's cider consumption down there as well.
Well, I'm not sure how big. I don't know actually whether it's probably more cider consumed in sort of Bristol and those areas.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Somerset.
West Country vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, an interesting map, if only for who admits how much they drink.
and a massively outdated map, which I'm sure the landscape of has just changed hugely.
Yeah.
In the post-COVID, post-pandemic world that we're in now.
You'd imagine
But I
so.
did circling back. I know we need to move on, but going back to the pint, right? I think one of the best beers you can ever have. If you had a hard day at work, and you go for that first pint after work with some colleagues, blow off a bit of steam. I don't want someone going, you can't have a pint, mate. It's 2:30 in here.
Particularly in like a really busy city pub. You don't want to have
where
to
it
keep going back to the bar.
Takes friggin' ages to get served.
Yeah,
You want a
I haven't
crispy
even
boy.
thought about that. It will increase queues at the
Yeah.
bar because you'll be serving
Massively.
smaller amounts. You'll have to go back more.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
So
It's nonsense.
it is nonsense.
I do have another bit of beer news. I guess this one is good news, but it's because bad news.
Okay.
So this Japanese brewer Kirin have been
Yes.
experimenting with cultivating hops indoors.
Wow. That's
To-
very exciting.
Yeah. So the idea was that it was to combat the fact that yields are going down due to climate change, which made me go, oh, that's interesting. I feel like the answer is more like crossbreeding to find more resistant hops. That seems like a cheaper way of doing it, and also has lots of other benefits, to do with sort of tailoring and being disease resistant, all these kind of things. But the thing that made me stop in my tracks is actually, so the drinks business did a story on this, and it's actually the second last sentence. They sort of buried the lead, as far as I'm concerned, in this story, and it's a quote from. Well, it's attributed to Kirin Holdings, as if that's a person. I don't think Kirin Holdings founded Kirin Holdings, as far as I know. But they say with this indoor cultivation technology, Coulter has succeeded. Coulter is like, I think, the lab that's working on it, has succeeded in harvesting hops in other seasons.
Ooh.
So what that could mean is fresh hops all year round.
Green hop beers all year round.
Yeah, green hop beers all year round. But I was thinking more just like every hop that you use could be pretty much fresh off the vine, fresh out of the kiln.
That sounds great. Do you think it's like you can get tomatoes all year round or whatever, but some tomatoes when they're in season are better? Do you think it'd be like that?
No, because the reason that that's the case is because we fly them in from other places. That's how you get tomatoes all year round.
There's hot houses and stuff there as well.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't
So
think they're
there's-
year round. I think they're...
Oh, there's Thanet Earth on the Isle of Thanet near Margate is a massive hot house. I think that's tomatoes and stuff, but I don't know what's in it.
And they're producing year round.
There's friggin' lights and stuff on in midwinter.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
mental.
what I mean is it tomatoes all year round?
Oh,
or is it...
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I would presume not.
Yeah, I'm not a reliable source of that data. Sorry.
But this would result in having fresh hops all year round, which would be pretty
Sounds cool.
cool. I mean, I would say
Yeah.
that it's not necessarily necessary because
They-
hops now keep so well in a freezer with the processing that we do. But it is a very interesting idea that you could harvest them throughout the year.
I like the idea, Johnny, of being able to simulate different environments, different terroirs. Like, could you have New Zealand hops being grown in Japan or anywhere? Maybe we put it on a boat. We go back to our boat analogy in the middle of the ocean, Johnny, for our pub or whatever it was we can have on a boat. But now we're growing hops anywhere that we want around the world, and they can taste like they come from Yakima or, out in
Yeah, I
New
mean, I guess
Zealand.
you could synthesize terroir. It would make our next video about is there any terroir in beer significantly harder. It's like, yes,
Yes.
if you're not on a boat. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I would imagine the costs and the energy that goes into doing it just don't really bear thinking about.
Isn't it just hydroponics, though? How does it work? I need to read the article. I haven't read it.
I mean, I guess it could be hydroponics, yeah, because...
Like, when you think about... I mean, we know that hops are related to weed, right? When you think about how well marijuana does in hothouses and hydroponic farms and all this kind of stuff, probably a natural progression that we go, oh, right, well, we could grow hops legally and... maybe they kind of grow in a... Well, they don't grow in a similar way. I'm talking nonsense, but...
Well, one's a climbing vine, isn't it? So it'd be quite a different approach.
It is quite a different approach, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was a really interesting choice to have made for Kieran to go like, screw you guys, we're going to grow these indoors. I mean, if you think about... I mean, I guess you wouldn't need the acreage, would you? Because you'd be growing it year-round. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't be these... acre after acre after acre of warehousing for it. You'd get more out of a square meter, but it's still going to have to be pretty epic and make a pretty barren fucking landscape. But hey, Kieran, you do you. It was an interesting article, and to whoever the journalist was, I think you buried the lead.
I think it just made me think then, Johnny, about Holland. I think Holland are the second largest exporter of food in the world, and it's a tiny country.
Not the first time you brought that fact up on the podcast, Bradley.
Yeah, I love that fact because I love Holland.
I hope it's true.
I am pretty sure it's true. I'm going to send you a Washington Post article right now because they're well into vertical farming, which means you can just grow stuff like up instead of out, over, across. It's quite amazing. All the stuff they get up to is incredible.
Until the levee breaks.
Well, it just shows you, though, you can be ingenious. You've got everything against you, not having loads of land, your land sinking into the ocean or being reclaimed from the ocean, but you can still be second biggest producer in the world, exporter, I believe.
Of what?
I can't remember. It's been ages since I've read it.
Micro-herbs or something.
So its ability to feed 17 million people, produce twice as much food using half as many resources. It's pretty nuts. Yeah,
because you could never...
good stuff.
You actually, with hops, you probably need horizontal farming.
Yeah.
That would probably be more useful and easier to harvest. But anyway, we're getting into the weeds.
They've got 24,000 acres, almost twice the size of Manhattan, of crops growing in greenhouses. So lots of those are vertical. It's mad. It's like the scale is insane over there.
Bonkers.
But anyway, we'll go on.
Yeah, let's move on to last week's video. So, we can't do this week's video, which is a 32-minute epic at Pressure Drop, and instead we'll go for a 25-minute epic with the amazing Two Flints, who, every time I drink their beer, and now that I've been, I'm getting more and more sure they're one of the most exciting breweries in the UK when it comes to brewing hazy IPA at the very least, and they've done some pretty good West Coast stuff as well, because they know how to do great lager, and there's some pretty similar principles there. And they have side pour taps for their lagers as well, which got me very excited. So
that is cool.
Yeah, a couple of months ago I went there. It's pretty much in the shadow of Windsor Castle, and it's a lovely little railway arch brewery. Big old brew kit. Clearly some investment and time has gone into getting this right, and a lovely little tap room as well. And we drank some sensational hazy IPA as we brewed up our Fidens, I guess, inspired beer. So Fidens are one of the breweries that are sort of getting all the hype now, sort of the new treehouse when it comes to people queuing up for beer that's hazy. And one of the things that they sort of purport and promote is this idea that you can get yeasts that present the same mouthfeel, texture, haze, and look of a hazy IPA without contributing huge amounts of esters. So essentially, it's almost literally between the coasts in that you get West Coast profile, but the body and the feel of a big beer. And that means you can then know that all of the aromas that you're getting are from the hops. And I think it's a really cool, really interesting approach, and I think it means that we are ending up with much crisper crisper finishing sort of New England style IPAs, which is very cool, and why I was up for doing this with Two Flints. But it also is kind of the antithesis of what I think most breweries are currently focusing on, which is really amping up esters and reducing their hop use, because A, they're very expensive, B, they're not great for the environment, and C, it makes your beer's shelf stability a little bit lower. So there's sort of two diverging schools of thought in IPA at the moment.
It's we're in an interesting battleground right now with the old IPAs, I think. But I thought the beer we had at the festival was amazing. Was that the highest IBU beer they've made, do you think?
Oh, by a long way, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is often the case when I get my hands on a brew sheet, because I think just across the board, in the UK at least, IBUs are about half what they should be. Not just to style, but in terms of creating drinkability for people. Because IBUs are important. Like, not up to 60, 70, 80. Then that's a statement in the same way that having 20 IBUs in your IPA is. But I don't think that any New England IPA should have less than 30 or more than 40. And we pushed it right up there because we were trying to make as kind of crisp and assertive and drinkable New England IPA as we kind of dared. So we went all the way up. And the West Coast IPA, the pressure drop one, for people that watched the video yesterday, will know that the IBUs actually are lower in our West Coast than in this one.
Oh, wow.
But it certainly doesn't taste that way when you taste them. So IBUs are sort of theoretical, calculated. There's lots of other things that feed into it, like the body of the beer, the gravity, the final gravity of the beer, the hops that are used, so the actual oils that are presenting. Particularly New Zealand hops have really, I guess, kind of rough, assertive bitterness from what's called cohumulone. So they can present very differently, even if the IBUs are similar or a little bit higher. So I was worried. I thought the Two Flints beer was going to be right on the edge of what was acceptable, but actually it's really, really smooth, and I think really nicely balanced.
Oh, mate, I thought it was one of the beers of the festival. Is fantastic, a joy to drink. It's interesting those guys love the New Zealand hop so much, and I really like the name that you got, the green pastille, being fancy there, Johnny. Is it? Would you pronounce it pastille or is it pastel?
It's pastel, really, but it is fun to say pastille. It's a bit like the Bastille, but pastel, because it's green fruit pastels. That's what I get when I smell Nelson Sauvin. That's what I get from that hop. So that's kind of what we called it, and that's what I wanted to get from the beer. But New Zealand hops are definitely having a real moment, and it's not just in the UK either. Like, we had a comment in our Discord forum today, so somebody on the West Coast who is trying to match up some beers from the West Coast so that he can enjoy the taste along to some extent with us. And he said it's all New Zealand hops at the moment over here, so that won't be hard. So it's New Zealand hops having a real moment.
Maybe they need to consider some vertical farming.
Maybe they do.
Although
they haven't.
It is quite big, New Zealand, isn't it? Really, we think it's small.
I don't know how big the hop growing region is, to be honest.
No,
I think it must be quite large, because they've been doing it for a long time and growing and growing and growing in size. And I
didn't notice the hops in Lord of the Rings, and they went all across the continent there, didn't they? So you would have thought in the Shire or somewhere you might have seen a few sneaky hops, but I don't think I did.
I mean, they have beer in Lord of the Rings, so there must be some hop growing.
Yeah,
presumably Motueka as one of the earlier varieties of the NZ hop growing scene.
Yeah, man.
Maybe
ancient.
Maybe there's a brew in that, trying to brew what's consumed in Lord of the Rings. See if JAR ever wrote about the flavours of the beer, not just the sizes.
Yes, I don't know, because I've never read his books.
They're excited about pints, aren't they? In that, there's that famous line
pints.
where they go, "This is a pint."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what made me think of it.
God, I hope that doesn't get consigned to history by these Cambridge Illuminatis.
Oh God!
These woke scientists, as the Daily Mail called them.
I'm glad scientists are woke, to be honest. That would be really worrying if they were not woke, wouldn't it?
It's just reminded me of a wonderful quote that was in the BBC article. So they got a comment from Labour MP Josh Simons, who I'm not really sure what his role is. He's just called an ally of Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. So it's not really a role, Simons. But anyway, he says he's not comfortable with the government dictating glass sizes. Like, they do. Okay. It's literally their job. They literally that's their job to dictate that. It was like, so where do you think the pint came from? That wasn't in the fucking 10 Commandments, was it?
Yeah, it's literally got government marks on the glassware if you get it produced commercially.
The standard of politicians these days is just laughable.
Wally.
Yeah.
Mind you, you got to admire Keir's hustle. Wasn't he like claiming like 100 grand worth of free shit?
Hey, we can't talk the amount of Tonys.
I know.
And
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah,
well,
indeed.
different vibes, obviously, but he was at the football, wasn't he, this week? And
he'd be all over the Tonys if he could be.
Yeah.
He wishes he had your gift of the gab when it comes to chocolatiers.
We're
anti-slavery
now
chocolatiers.
Exactly. They're on a mission to do good work, Tonys. Shout out, Tonys. We're going Wayne's World style, Johnny. We're going to be covered in logos on our clothing soon.
Yep.
No, not really, but we're going to have some more and Sons clothing in the mix. I've managed to get us some outfits.
Yeah. You've managed to convince a fashion brand that you and me are sort of hot middle-aged men.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're like Pretty Women. We're going to go on a shop. I've already said to you, now the festival's over, Johnny, we're going to have a shopping date, me and you, buddy.
How are we like What's Pretty Women? Is that a show, or are you just calling me a pretty woman?
What am I talking? Pretty Woman with, like the prostitute. She goes shopping. That's me and you.
Right,
we're
okay.
like the prostitutes going shopping.
Sure.
We're gonna go to Bodeeds, have some barbecue food, and 4-pint pitcher of Heineken. Boo Heineken. In happy hour. And then go directly next door to the brilliant Soho and Son store and choose an outfit. Yay.
This is exactly what they had in mind when they offered us some clothes, isn't it?
Yeah. We need to do some socials, obviously, but we need to get our outfits first. But yeah.
I wore my and Sons at the festival. People who want to look at the photos can see it.
You did. I wore one of my jackets, one that I bought, though.
There you go. Aren't we good influencers? If you thought we looked good, please do head to and Sons.
Yeah.
Right. Did you have any comments on that video?
Daniel Taylor said, as a Kiwi, I feel lucky to have these hops literally on tap at every brewery in the neighbourhood. I'm certain the beer brewed for the festival must be delicious. You are very welcome, Daniel. You're correct. It was delicious.
And you're a lucky man.
You are a lucky man. I've started watching the new series of Colin from Accounts. Johnny, have you started watching that?
Not had time yet, but I will.
Antipodean comedy about a dog.
It's about a brewery
a guy that owns a brewery. I was getting to the brewery bit. Beautiful little dog and a guy that owns a brewery.
Say beautiful brewery. No, beautiful little dog.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. He's Australian, though. He's not New Zealand. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. And I thought he was very lucky. I liked Xander 1052 pointed out something which I believe is on all of the cans for Two Flints. He said, I love Two Flints giving every hop a colour so you can see the exact blend of hops. I did clock that on the cans.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
So that
appeals to your synesthetic ways, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's like really cool visual way of... it just looks like a Brian Eno painting. Not that he paints, he does music, but what I imagine, it's like a minimal kind of colour wash spectrum thing, which looks really cool.
So you're saying if you ask Brian Eno to come up with a way of portraying the hop blend on a can, it's probably what he'd have done.
That was what I was striving for there. I think it's very very Eno vibes. So I like that comment. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, we've had loads of comments, John. Have you got any good comments?
Do you know what? I was relying on you. On you. Because all I'd have done is go deep onto the comment about the yeast.
Yeah.
Which I think might be a bit too niche for the podcast, but it was BSIA 72, which, according to Vincent Oliver 9825, is the Anchor Liberty Ale yeast. Which is used by Fidens.
Oh, that's cool. Justina 6769 said, "I'll take a 2 Flints Burning Sky Saison, please." That does sound good.
Yeah, well, it was great. Well. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
So we talked about it in the video, but Brett, the head brewer, has a sort of a side project in mixed firm saisons, and clearly knows Mark, and Mark doesn't collab with anybody. So clearly he likes 2 Flints as well, and believed they'd do a great job, and they did. It's a really tasty beer.
Max McGrath said, "Can we buy this beer outside of the festival?" And what's the answer, Johnny?
Yeah, you sure can. So you can buy it from the 2 Flints web store or from 2 Flints. You can buy it in our Taste Along pack, and also there will be a pack, like a festival pack. So not all of the collabs, but some of our collabs and some of the collabs from the other breweries that will also go live on our web store on the Malt Miller, probably middle of next week, I would say.
That's cool. That is cool.
So, yeah, lots of opportunities to get hold of the beer in that video, and indeed the pressure drop one. In fact, well, it's all except for the Emperors. Plus Utopian and Braybrook's Dunkel, and Phantom and Neon Raptors Hazy Pale. Again, New Zealand hops. So, yeah, that will go live, I think, sometime next week.
Nice.
So that's about it. I just wanted to end this podcast on a slightly sad note, which is unfortunately I lost a friend to cancer this week. An amazing lady called Susanna Forbes, who has been a real friend to the Craft Beer Channel. Always supported our work, and also when I went freelance in 2018 and took the Craft Beer Channel full time, she was commissioning me in magazines, inviting me to tastings, and she founded a cider maker, an amazing cider maker called Little Pomona, with her husband James. And it is genuinely, Little Pomona is one of the greatest producers of cider now in the world. We made 2 videos actually, while I was researching a year in beer in 2021, and those were on the channel. So I just wanted to I guess metaphorically raise a glass to Susanna, say thank you to her, and say to everybody out there, if you love cider, go check out these videos and go check out probably the greatest ambassador for cider that Britain's ever had, and one of the most lovely and passionate drinks writers and people I've ever met. She'll be missed dearly, and do check out those videos.
Yeah, I'd never got to meet her in person, but she seemed like a lovely person, and I, just wish the best to her family and everything. It's that's a really devastating news, Johnny.
Yeah, it was a real come down from the festival. But I mean, she did so much for the industry, and there's so many things that we can celebrate and continue to celebrate that she sort of achieved in her life. So she will absolutely live on in the heads of everybody that ever met her or was influenced by her. That's all we have time for this week. We will, of course, be back next week with another video and indeed another podcast. I should say that series that I said that we have lots of filming to do earlier is the promo for my book. So upcoming is a whole series on beers that changed the world and some of the stories and anecdotes from my book, which you can still pre-order. Links in the podcast show notes as well. That book's out on the 7th of November. There'll be some parties around there that I'll be inviting you all to eventually. But that's what's coming into your algorithms very, very soon. And I'm excited to put those videos out there. But until then, love and beer.
Love and beer.
The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer Channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/The Craft Beer Channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food, and homebrewing. Love and beer.